Okay, so we're going to run through a few audio tests with the Tascam DR-100 Mark II, and then where applicable we're going to compare it to the Zoom H4N. So right now I have my lav mic here running into my Sound Devices MKII mixer, and that is outputting a mic level signal into both the Zoom H4N and the Tascam DR-100 Mark II. So currently we're listening to the recording from the Tascam, and now we're listening to the recording from the Zoom H4N. And what I'll do is I'll just talk a little bit about the two recorders so you can get a feel for how this recording is sounding. As I said, this is the Zoom H4N we're listening to right now. We'll talk a little bit about the build quality for sake of something to say. The Zoom H4N is, it feels sturdy in the hand, has a rubberized grip around it, and it's kind of a plastic casing with these rubber parts on the side of it. And it feels dense, it feels pretty solid. It doesn't feel like it would break instantaneously if you mishandled it or anything like that. So now we're going to switch back to the Tascam. So now we're listening to the recording from the Tascam. And for the sake of something to say again, I'll talk about the Tascam's build quality. Tascam DR-100 Mark II is an aluminum chassis. It doesn't feel quite as dense as the Zoom H4N. So it has a bit more of a tinny feel to it when you pick it up, but it still feels sturdy. It doesn't feel like this thing is going to break if you keep it at the bottom of your bag or anything like that. It certainly feels like you could get quite a lot of use out of it. So there's some audio samples of a mic level signal recorded with the two, and what we'll do now is we'll go into a line level signal on the Tascam recorder, and you can have a listen to that. Okay, so now what we're doing is we're listening to a recording of my lav mic, which is running into my Sound Devices MKII mixer, and it's outputting a line level signal into the Tascam DR-100 Mark II. Now, in terms of getting a better sound overall, this is a much preferable way to do things if you have a mixer. Dedicated mixers, preamps are often going to sound much better than the preamps that you find in these small and fairly cheap portable recorders. Like the Zoom and the Tascam here. So this is a more preferable solution, the line level signal coming out of the mixer and into the Tascam, and this is how I like to record a lot of things using this Tascam. We actually can't do a comparative recording in this instance with the Zoom because the Zoom doesn't have a line level signal like a traditional line level signal. It has a 1/4-inch TRS connection on the bottom of it, which is their line level input, but it's really designed for keyboards and electric guitars, and it's highly attenuated, and you would have to run something like a 40 decibel inline pad to make a comparable test, so it's really not worth it. If you want to record a straight line level signal and a small portable recorder, and these two are your options, then there's no question, go with the Tascam. It has a dedicated line level input with an XLR. So this is, as I said, this is a sample of me talking into my lav mic and recording the line level signal that's coming out of my Sound Devices mixer into the Tascam. Another way we could do this, I don't actually, unfortunately, have the cabling for it, but the Tascam has a very nice digital input to it, and a lot of small mixers these days, like the Sound Devices MKII, actually have an AES digital output. So you could keep things all digital. You could actually come out of the Sound Devices mixer and into the Tascam and keep the whole thing digital, which would be nice. That's another thing that the Zoom H4N doesn't do. So those are really our options for recording with XLR microphones. Now we'll go into some tests of sound that's recorded using the onboard microphones. So this is a sample of recording directly into the Tascam DR-100 Mark II using the built-in unidirectional microphones on the top here. Now these are unidirectional, so you'll see if I rotate this away, then you can hear a pretty big change in the sound. I rotate this back, and so it's now pointing right at me, and then if I move it around to the side like this, you'll see the effect of the stereo mics, and right back to the center. So this is the unidirectional microphone. You can hear there's a small amount of handling noise if I move my fingers around on this. Now we've switched to the omnidirectional microphones on the Tascam. You'll see that the handling noise has gone up an enormous amount. You really can't handheld it in omni mode, I would say. This has to be on a small tripod. You'll see though that I can move around, and there's not a huge appreciable difference in whereabouts the sound is coming from now. That's the nature of the omnidirectional mics that are built into the Tascam DR-100 Mark II. I would say for me personally, I'm most likely to use the unidirectional one. I think you'll see it obviously cuts out a lot more of the room tone, the background noise. Back in omnidirectional mode, you can probably hear the road in the background, maybe some hum from my refrigerator. But in unidirectional mode, it's perfectly usable for some voiceovers or overdubbing something in a video. So yes, this is the built-in microphones from the Tascam DR-100 Mark II. Right, so this is a sample of recording directly into the Zoom H4N. Now we don't have the omnidirectional and unidirectional mics that we have on the Tascam. We just have this one pair of stereo XY mics on the front here. You can switch them between a 90-degree or 120-degree spread pattern. And yeah, this is a sample recording directly into the Zoom H4N using the 2-channel stereo microphone.